Mi nombre es Joaquín. Y esto es segunda temporada de Meeple Podcast. Welcome to Carcassonne. In this episode of Meeple Podcast, we bring you the manager of Spielezentrum who is working to host the Carcassonne World Cup event in the city of Essen. We welcome and thank him for his presence in this space.
Hello, my name is Thomas Moder and I'm head of Spielezentrum in Herne, Germany, who is organizing the Carcassonne Championships for publisher Hans im Glück.
How old is the Carcassonne final in Essen?
As far as I know, the final takes place in Essen since the beginning of the World Championships. That's 16 years ago now. Until today, the location was changed only once. It was for the 10th anniversary of Carcassonne. Then we relocated the final into the exhibition of the Museum of Archaeology in Herne.
How many time had been spent Spielezentrum organizing the final?
That's a difficult question. The participating countries hold their national finals on different times. We have to be in contact with every country, and at the moment we're talking about 45 countries or so, over the year, and assist the players during the stay in Germany. You can imagine that it cost us some time to do this. The final itself is quite easy to handle. The hardest part is to get a space big enough each year new. Our experienced tournament team takes care of the rest as usual.
What's Spielezentrum in fact? An association, a club, a company?
What is Spielezentrum? Spielezentrum is a worldwide, unique and one-of-a-kind institution. Officially, we belong to the youth department of the city of Herne. We are an open house where young people can spend their free time, and we own the biggest game library in the world where you can rent every game nearly for free. On the other side, we are also a business of commercial nature, which is necessary to organize the tournament seasons for different publishers. At the moment we are doing Catan for Cosmos, Seven Wonders for Asmodee, and of course Carcassonne for Hans im Glück. So you see, it's really a little bit of a complicated situation. By the way, I'm a civil servant and the only one in the world being paid for playing during his work.
Has Spielezentrum a high coverage around Germany? In other words, is the Spielezentrum activity only close to Essen city?
Yes, due to the fact that we belong to the city of Herne, we can only operate nearby our hometown. Special activities like the Catan Championship final in Munich or a game fair Spiel in Essen are the only exceptions so far.
What about the final? How many people work to prepare the Carcassonne event?
I organize everything concerning the World Championship alone, and one member of my team, who is organizing all the national tournaments for Spielezentrum, is responsible for the implementation of the final in Essen then.
How many players meet at the final, at the beginning of the event?
As far as I know, the event started with only 8 nations. Now we are at 45 nations, but not every nation takes part every year, of course.
Chess clocks are really necessary?
Oh yes, they are. There are always some players who would have an unfair advantage when they would have all the time in the world to think before placing a tile. The former world champion Martin Mojsic from Czech Republic is one of these guys, and that's no secret, and he knows that. Nevertheless, he won his title even playing with chess clocks, so congratulations again, Martin.
What's the most difficult thing to do for the organizers like you? For everything will be ready to the final event.
As I mentioned before, it's always difficult to get a space big enough on the game fair grounds. There are many groups who want to offer special events during the game fair and therefore looking for an appropriate space. Fortunately, we are in good contact with publisher Mert, the organizer of the game fair, and we are able to find a suitable space every year new. Special circumstances like the COVID-19 restrictions last year caused some additional problems, which we were able to solve due to our long experience organizing such events. But that's another story.
Many people think victory depends a bit on luck, not only on the knowledge about the game and the experience of competition. Perhaps the final system could be better if it was one more day longer, playing 3 games per duel. What do you think about that?
Of course that would be better, but it's absolutely not possible. As noted before, we can only get a space big enough for 1 day only, and you better not ask what publisher Hans im Glück has to pay for that.
Who is the main actor in this final? Hans im Glück, Spielezentrum or Essen Festival organization?
It's Spielezentrum who is running the show. Normally, Moritz Brunhofer, head of publisher Hans im Glück, will be there at the winner ceremony, but we organize everything alone. Of course, Hans im Glück later pays the bill.
Do you know Klaus-Jürgen Wrede in person?
Oh yes, I know Klaus for over 10 years now. He's a very nice person and very supportive at the final. Normally he will be there during different times of the day, taking time to sign tiles or anything else and talk to the players. He's also part of the winner ceremony each year, handing out the winner certificates to the participants, and he's been later there for photos and. So he's very nice and he takes time for the players.
Another interesting thing that would be interesting for this interview and the Spanish audience I didn't ask you.
Yes, feel free to visit us in Essen at the Game Fair Spiel. Our red American school bus is a landmark in the hall, and you can play all the new games on our booth in Essen for free. You will find us in hall number 1 at booth number D148 this year. D148.
What about the Essen Festival? Many people tell us it's the big board game festival in the world.
Essen is the biggest and most important board game festival in the world. They had 209,000 visitors in 2019. And in 2021 only 98,000 due to the different COVID-19 restrictions. But they are planning to reach over 200,000 again this year. All important publishers from around the world are there. Every serious player should have visited Game Fair Spiel at least once in his lifetime.
About the Swiss system and the playoffs, what's the software you use for this event?
We only use an ordinary chess program for our Carcassonne tournaments. That's no big secret.
What are the main competition rules you must remember to everyone before the start of the competition? The end of the war rule? To take a tile while the opponent turn? Clocks, etc.?
No, normally there's no end of the world rule. In case you came close to the table corners, players are allowed to move the tiles on the table so that everything would fit again. You are allowed to take a tile in the opponent's turn, and that's important because we will play with chess clocks and you have to be careful with your own time.
How many prizes goes to how many players in the event?
We have wooden trophies for the first 4 players and of course some games as prizes. All players will receive a winner certificate and a bag with some giveaways and souvenirs.
What advice would you give to everyone who had not even been in Essen before? About the tournament, I mean.
You should try to play using chess clocks because it's important to get a feeling for time management. And during lunch break, don't use the all-you-can-eat buffet too much, and because I have noticed that most of the top players eat very little due to the fact that they need the blood in the brain and not in their stomach.
Thanks for the interview, Thomas. See you on Essen.